gentlemen, everyone around and in between. It is Debate Sensei NPDA edition, where we talk about things relevant to National Parliamentary Debate Association competitive debate. And I have with me the director of debate at San Diego State University, Kyle Pryor Landman. Thank you very much, Kyle, for being here.
Thanks for having me again.
All right. So, Nationals, the big one. Now, let's clarify for people who may not be familiar. This is the open tournament where anybody can register. I even noticed that there was a novice division. I don't remember there being a novice division before. Is that?
Yeah, it was the largest novice entry in a long time. Yeah, there was 9. So they throw them into the open bracket. But then if you're a novice team that ends up breaking into open, you can stay in the open bracket. But then they'll break out winning like novices that don't break out into the open bracket into their own little novice bracket.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Were there any novices that broke in the open division?
No, they broke out to their own breakout. But they were good this year. They were
Good. Excellent. You know what? Let me give a little shout out to some of these novices that broke. We had University of Utah, University of the Pacific, St. Mary's, and Mercer University. All right, excellent. I got a friend at University of Utah. We went to college together. Well, I don't think he's coaching much anymore, but shout out to Michael Middleton. All right.
He's still there, but he wasn't at the tournament.
Not at the tournament, yeah. All right. Okay, so let's give people an overview about this tournament. So one of the things is the overall number of entries. We had 41 entries in open debate. Now, tell me historically, comparatively, what's that like? That seems low.
It's low. Unfortunately, it's low. Even in 2018, there was still over 100. And then it's also lower than it was last year. But not like significantly. I think just proximity. I think Utah's a bit harder to get to than some states.
Okay.
I think it's interesting though that since California lifted the travel ban, that more California teams didn't go. But I think that is mainly due to a lot of scheduling conflicts. And that's something that I know the NPDA itself is trying to work around. Due to things like the CCCFA, the Community College State National, or the Community College State Championship.
You're right.
International Forensics Association was the weekend prior in Dublin, Ireland. And then FIROPI is coming up pretty soon. And I think it's just like there's a lot of cost benefit things for schools. California is a very community college debate heavy state. That used to drive a lot of the entries to nationals. So I think that's something that they're trying to solve in the future.
Okay. Yeah. So I've always wondered about why IFA is so early in the year, because I would think that people are doing their national tournaments that you would, if I were in charge of IFA, I don't know, and I don't know who is, but I'd be like, oh well, let's say we have nationals, let's be the international tournament afterwards. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know, but there might be other reasons behind it. I'm sure that the people that are running it have their reasons, and it's probably just complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I being on the national board is, I'm sure you're have your finger in a lot of different pies. So not like of utmost importance when it's scheduled, but I don't know. It's interesting to see. It's kind of been hovering around 35, 45 the last 4 or 5 years. But I think there's potential.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe scheduling would help that out a little bit. Okay, we have that's our entry, and like I said, this is the open. Now the NPTE, when is that?
The end of April.
End of April. Holy moly!
Yeah, so there's still a whole month in between. I think it's the weekend of the 20th of April, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, still got a while up in Walla Walla. So
yeah, is that where it is? It's going to be up in Walla
it's
Walla.
gonna be at Whitman.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like in the same, at least in the same state, if not the same city, or at least when I was going through.
Yeah, so that was also like a topic of discussion. I'm pretty linked in with the goings on of both boards, but it's hard for a school to want to volunteer itself for 2 weekends.
Right.
That's a lot of time, money, and effort for schools.
Yeah.
They're trying to move towards it returning. Like I think next year, McKendree in Illinois has offered to do both.
Okay.
And then return back to it being NPTE followed by NPDA. But I think there's like some issues with like bylaws and stuff like that are making it kind of difficult to make that transition back to how it used to be prior to COVID.
I'm kind of partial to NPTE following NPDA. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't.
No right answer. No right answer.
I don't really know. I think to some degree, right? I think NPDA is maybe like a good season closer.
Okay.
Right, because you get to see everybody and hit everybody, right? No matter like your skill level, and I think it's important. I think it's important for the community. But I mean, I see the value, right? You have the everybody come, and then you have the invitational where it's the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
And we hash it out to see if like that is like a moderator, right? If the other rest of the community is a moderator,
Yeah.
really hammer in your success. But I mean, TBD, right? The champions are generally different. So
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at some of these entries. And so who is the big entry? I didn't look at. We got Concordia brings 1, 2, 3, 4. Mercer brings 4. Rice brings. Oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crap. Well, San Diego, you brought a couple.
We brought a couple. We brought a novice team and an open team.
Okay, very nice. Utah brings 5.
Yep.
We still have a lot of people bringing 3, like Whitman and Pacific. Okay. And Kansas City, Kansas brings 1. They usually have policy teams.
Yeah, they're back. They won the NPDA a handful of years ago.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, I think 2016 or 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great to have them back. The more Midwest teams, right? They've kind of all vanished, so it's glad to have them back in the community.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about the first break. So it breaks to partial aux. Now, the partial aux is a little interesting, I noticed, because partial aux only really applies to one team.
Mm-hmm.
There's one team that gets to walk over the octafinal round, and that is parliamentary debate at Berkeley, Searson and Keene. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I also checked the record, and they're the only undefeated team after 8 rounds.
They sure are.
All right, they're just coming in hot. All right. All right. So, are there any teams that maybe didn't break that they deserve a shout out? It was a little surprising that they didn't break.
Yeah, I will very selfishly shout out my own team.
Okay.
For them.
But
it's unfortunate. Like they tried their hardest, but they were definitely up there, right? I think of teams that were nationally competitive that just maybe had a bad day.
Okay.
I think that's fine. I am going through the list here of looking at people who didn't break.
We had is it Hansen and Flaggy? Is that, or I don't know if it's
so those are our novices.
Right.
I really honestly am very sad that they didn't break out to the novice bracket too, but it happens, and there's always next year. They're freshmen; they have plenty of time to go.
But it was what, Bartle and Simon that were okay. Yeah. There was a time when my transition from junior to senior was a rough one. I went like 3 tournaments where I went 3-3 and didn't break, and so that's my. I always remember that. I mean that's and so I commiserate with people who trying hard and are coming up a little short. So
It happens.
yes.
I think Rice, Trevino, and Yang probably deserve to break.
Oh,
I was always very impressed with them. I always liked how they debate. Who else did I judge?
oh yeah, they were just they missed their break round.
Yeah,
Oh,
Austin
well,
Pup.
they're hitting UT Tyler though, right? I mean, UT Tyler is no joke, right?
Oh, they're good. They're good this year.
Okay.
I think for them, right, they're Josh and Hunter, their team's done. And I think that, it's probably a good year for them to get a lay of the land and then, come back swinging next year. Because that was, their star team, second place a bunch of times. But, I think UT Tyler's always been historically very good, and all of their teams this year were impressive. I was, man.
Oh, it looks like they got pulled up too. It looks like you're okay. Oh, I see. UT Tyler, they already broke. Oh man. Yeah, that's tough. Okay. So what happens sometimes in tournaments is that like when you have to have like they're power matching after a certain number of rounds. Mm-hmm. Once you get into round 8, everything's getting power matched. But sometimes you get you don't always have the exact same power matching. You have to pull somebody up. So somebody comes up with they have a 4-3 record, a 4-3. Well, no, you could have a 4-3 record, and you're like, oh, this is my break round right here. But somebody else, you're going against a 5-2 team now, and that's what happened here. That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think that the power matching is about as fair as it can get.
Yeah,
but it sucks sometimes. You just get unlucky. I mean, I think the submarine strategy, right? If you're losing your first couple rounds and then submarine strategy your way up into it. I think that's a very valid way to do it. I mean, I did it and it worked. But I'm not saying to throw your first 2 rounds, but you have what it takes. It's maybe not the worst strategy in the world.
Okay. All right. So we got these we got our octafinals here. Mm-hmm. Berkeley gets to walk over.
Yep.
Holy crap! Rice has how many teams break? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of their 5.
Yep.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Rice was crushing it.
Oh my god! Okay, Whitman is no joke. They got. Well, I mean, they got like the 2 top teams, though, right? I mean, we saw them closing out early in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Any other sort of breakouts that were kind of like, oh, congratulations! Like we didn't necessarily see it. Like we're not necessarily surprised, but good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to shout out University of Utah, Jenkins and Watrin. I like them a lot. I think they have a lot of potential. Very young team. Same with Mercer, Selkirk and Bartlett. Great people, great team. McKendree coming back, breaking, amazing. I think that's super dope. I'm also really happy to see KCC in this round also.
Oh, okay.
I think seeing teams that historically have been good coming back to being good again, it's that cool kind of story that, comeback story that you get at Nats, right?
Nice.
I think all the rounds were paired, I mean, right, like as they should have been. I think, I would have liked to see Brenna and Tristan debate someone in Ox. I think them walking over is, I can't sit here and pretend like, whoa, no way, right? But there's no one else. There's no one else in the 8-0 bracket. And I think, if I remember correctly, it was the round 7. So
Okay.
there were two teams that were 6-0, and it was Brenna and Tristan, and I want to say a Whitman team.
Yeah, I think it was. So I'm looking at. I'm doing just a really quick search on 7 wins on here, and we got Whitman. Was it Gretchen and
Yeah.
Matthew, and then there's also Rice, which is Max Renteria and Surya.
Yeah, so they hit that Whitman team, Whitman GM,
Okay.
round 7, and then that determined who was going to be the 8-0 for the day.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think, I mean, again, I think getting a bye through Oxes at Nats, I don't know about the thought
Yeah.
on it, but I guess it's significantly better than pulling up a 4-4. I think they shouldn't pull up 4-4s. But
Oh man. Oh, that would be. Oh.
yeah,
Well, I don't know. Like, like just like the happy to be here mentality might apply in that situation. I don't know. You're right. That's a tough call.
yeah. I mean, if I was TD, I'm not pulling up 4-4s. I think to break at Nats, you should have a winning record.
Okay.
And I think that's just the level of rigor and expectation we should have for national tournaments. But I also understand when it has happened in the past, why it has happened in the past.
All right. So, do you know the topic for the octafinal round?
I do. So the topic for Octos was the United States federal government should pass HR 1708,
Oh shit.
housing the Human Rights Act of 2023.
Human Rights Act of 2023. That's a U.S. Law that was
Yes.
proposed. Okay. Any breakdown on the split on if that was AF favored or neg?
So I don't know the split.
Yeah.
I was on a panel for that round. I picked up the AF
Okay.
in that round. Me and Alex voted AF. So, I have a feeling if that went that way, I mean, I don't know. Debate rounds are so different. I am not sure of the results of that one.
I'm looking at, it's looking pretty even. I'm looking through, I'm scrolling through, I'm just doing a really quick search of octos on there, and I'm seeing neg wins and AF wins. It seems like I'm not doing an official count, but yeah, it doesn't seem like it's lopsided necessarily.
Yeah, I think whole law resolutions, right, are about as even as you can get, right? Unless it's like, something very uncontroversial.
Right.
But I think that it's also good that it wasn't like a, surveillance act or like, trying to, because those tend to be very neg skewed, right? It's like, in the current debate meta, right? It's probably like weird to advocate for like increased U.S. federal government surveillance. I don't know.
Yeah. So what is the human rights law that's being proposed in this one?
Yeah, so to my understanding, again, I didn't have any teams that I prepped, so my understanding comes from what I learned in round. But essentially, like, makes housing a human right. Like, it stops the government from being able to seize homeless people's property, and then also like puts enshrines like rent protection into U.S. law. So like if like not necessarily rent control, but like rent ceilings. So it was mainly to a different interpretation of like constitutional law, like Fourth Amendment law, saying that if you are living in somewhere that is not a home, you still have the right to your property.
Okay.
The big goal of it.
Okay. I mean, I like it. Like as a principle, it's a good starting point. You know what I mean? Like for a debate to happen. How do we? And then the policy implications that come from those principles. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Not bad. I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah. Okay. So that's our octafinals. Now, upsets in the octafinals going into quarters.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah. I know I'm springing that question on you. So take a second and take a look. I mean, anyone who's in there deserves to be in there. And all these teams that I'm looking at, I'm kind of like historically, they bring some strong players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there was particularly a huge upset in any of these rounds.
Mhm.
From what I know and understand, I think the teams that won deserve to win.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a bit difficult on 3 judge panels to really tell how lopsided it was, because I mean a 2-1 is just as likely as a 3-0, right? And it's going to be either one of those.
Yeah, Rice looks like they lost 3 out of how many they had? They had 4 that broke. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so they broke.
They broke 2.
They got 2 out. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty
Yeah.
damn good. And if you're converting 50% of your breaks, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think if there's a possibility for a closeout at any point, I think that that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, we had 2 Rice teams, 2 Whitman teams, and then Kansas City, UT Tyler, Berkeley, and Mercer in the finals. All right, very good. Couple of locked rounds. What's the topic in quarterfinals?
Quarters is the Islamic Republic of Iran should build a nuclear weapons arsenal.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh, I got to search up the split on that one here. What did he say? Did he label these as quarters or?
Yeah, the next round would be sems.
Yeah. So neg win, af lose, neg lose. Okay, so there is oh yeah, neg lose, af win. Okay, so it looks like it was a 3-1 split for the neg. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like as soon as I hear the resolution, I kind of expected that maybe. I mean, what do you think about that resolution? Like,
personally, I like it. I think that, you know, don't be scared. Say it with your chest. Give them some nukes. You know, I mean, I think there's like some pretty interesting AFs you can make with that.
Absolutely.
And I think that, right, I mean, I think the neg strat, honestly, right, it's pretty straightforward if you're going to be topical. I mean, I think Israel Backlash is maybe the number one killer diss ad, right? You could read, you know, but I think it's also probably pretty justifiable to read like a hedge on the negative, right, and be like, no, this is really bad for U.S. hedge.
You want to go like real politic with it, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Those are the 2 disadvantages that you're going with. Did you watch any rounds on this one?
I was not on any panels after quarters.
Were there any like weird ass or interesting different takes on it? Anything that people were talking about after quarters?
So quarters. This was Elim round 2. You know, I wasn't hearing a whole lot of wacky things going on.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I think that when teams are at nationals are faced with topics that are kind of weird, there's just a tendency to run critical. And that seemed to be where most of the controversy in this round lied.
Was there a lot of critical AFs on this?
Yeah.
Topic? Okay.
A lot of critical AFs. Pretty much, I believe all the negs were critical. You know, and so I think I did judge the novice round for this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was a critical AF versus framework and a counter plan. And I picked up on framework. I'm kind of a framework hack. That was, you know, a good call from them reading the room. Yeah, it was a 2-1 for UOP in that round.
Who is the AF?
The AF was Mercer.
Oh, Mercer. Okay.
I thought I was very close to voting for Mercer, but they just dropped a priori claim. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, I can't just wish you did something.
When it's close, man, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's like the debates have to go one way or the other. It's not always a completely rational, you know, like straightforward, like absolutely distinct way to do it. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. I like that topic. I'm sure if I was on the topic committee, I would be complaining about it. But I don't know, as like somebody who enjoys weird, vaguely topical AF, so I could probably come up with something pretty unique for this.
yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. I don't know. It just seems fun. It seems like the thinking about how topics are written in a different way is, I don't know, what makes the activity a little entertaining for me and worthwhile. So,
100%.
but yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we go from quarters now. Okay, the chance. Oh no, there was a chance for a closeout, right?
Yeah,
So,
there still was a chance for a closeout in SEMs.
So Rice gets kind of like, wait, Rice still picks up one out of their two, but Whitman is still in it in semis, right?
Yep.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And they're on different sides of the bracket.
Oh
so
yeah.
Whitman could have closed out.
Okay.
That was a definite possibility going into SEMs.
Wow.
And I think especially with all of these teams, they are all very close in skill, right?
Yeah.
I think there are, like, this is the 4 top teams that are in the nation. I think that this was very emblematic of that.
Okay.
It honestly, truthfully, I think every round could have been a coin flip.
Okay.
But
yeah. All right. So we have, okay, so what's the topic for semis?
SEMS is the International Court of Justice should rule that Israel is violating the Genocide Convention in response to Israel's treatment of Palestinians in Gaza.
Okay, well, there it is. Like, I mean, you got to anticipate that as a topic.
Yeah.
Was there anything like that in prelims? Was there Israel topics?
No.
Holy moly, really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Because I'd be like, if I'm going into a debate tournament right now, I'm like, what is my Israel position? You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to say about that? I am not going into a debate tournament without that in my arsenal.
So the other thought was going into it, right? Like, unlike NPTE, right? You just have no idea what the topics could be, and we're like, well, why would they do that? Why would they give an Israel topic?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think that, I mean, I don't think that's something anyone really wants to debate.
No.
And I don't think that that's like a necessarily comfortable thing to be in the back of the room as a judge. And so I was surprised that there was an Israel topic. And I also think that I'm surprised that we have the ICJ as an actor.
Okay, why is that?
Because there's not a whole lot of solvency there.
Okay.
Like, they can say whatever they want, but no one really, like, none of the resolutions are binding, right?
Okay.
Like, they're ostensibly binding, but they're binding in a way that is like, there's no way we can back it up. So I think it's difficult to really be this top, because, like, I mean, I think, sure, like, ostensibly, perceptually, that's the right thing to do, but other than perceptual anything, there's just no hard power implications for what that actually means for anyone. So I think any AF that goes beyond, like, this makes Israel look bad is probably affects topical.
Okay.
And also, I'm not sure necessarily that, like, all it says is that it should rule that it's violating, right? And I think the specific wording of that topic makes, like, topical AFs kind of difficult. And I think the neg, right? I think, again, one of the best arguments in debate, Israel backlash, works here, right? I think you could very easily be critical. You could do an actor counter plan. You could just do a completely different counter plan, right? I think that, like, anything with a slightly more solvent method makes this like an extremely neg skewed topic.
Okay, you say that, but it looks like both AFs picked up.
Yeah.
What happened?
Critiques.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a rejection of the topic?
Yeah.
Or in both rounds?
I believe so. Let's see. Yeah. So I know the Berkeley round was there was a much bigger gap than the uh, Rice round.
Yes, looking in, it looks like a 3-2 for the
Yes.
AF, but it is a 5-0 for
Yeah.
Berkeley. But that might be a little bit more. But I mean, you're going against Whitman, LK, like, or LM, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
LM. And they've been killing it. So yeah, I wonder if, I don't know. Did you hear what happened in that round? Was it really a blowout, or did it just like, was it really close and all 5 judges saw how close it was and just happened to go the same way?
It seemed to, from what I understood, to be close, but
Okay.
about
Yeah.
as close as a 5-0 could get.
Yeah.
But I think that it I think that one came down to like really being able to understand the technical aspects of that round, right? I think that both teams are so good that it's really who makes the most mistakes, right?
Yeah.
It's not down to necessarily who's like absolutely dominating. It's down to who messes up the most. And I think that that's a tough spot to be in, especially in semifinals, where there's not really a clear path forward for any of the teams.
Yeah.
None of them are gimmies. So I think that, again, I wasn't necessarily, I was surprised that Whitman GM didn't win that round.
Okay.
I like, if I was a betting man, right? If I could go on, prize picks and pick a final round, it would have been Whitman GM versus Berkeley.
Okay.
And I have text messages. I can prove I said that.
Well, I mean, it was close though. That was like,
Yeah.
this. It was just by 1 judge. Yeah. So it happens. It happens. I mean, like, you look at those 5 judges and you imagine if this were a prelim round and one of those judges, it was only one of those judges, then it goes the other way, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, it's just the nature of debate. It is not this perfect activity where we are just like objectively measuring the best of the best. It's
Right.
We're doing the best we can.
Yeah, and I think rhetorically, right, you can win over some people, and I think materially you can win over some people. I mean, I think debate's an interesting beast, right? You really got to play to the strengths and weaknesses of your panel.
Yeah, yeah, because like my final round at NPTE was just freaking blowout against me. Just not, and I admit it. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, we probably lost it, but I'm glad we got just a couple of votes.
A ballot feels good.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I wasn't just up there spouting gibberish.
Right.
Yeah, so I got something. That was when the audience voted. I think there was like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I think there was like 70, 80 ballots in that round, and we got like 10% or something like that. So
that's a crazy thing to do. I like that.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is, and it's all the people that were in the tournament. It's all the debaters that you basically beat on the way. Yeah, there's some of them are just voting for reasons other than the debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
interesting.
I still appreciate, like, the team that won. Absolutely brilliant. They're great. They've gone on to great success. So I'm happy for them. All right. So that brings us to the final round. So Whitman does not close out. Not only that, they don't even have a representative in the round. It is Rice versus Berkeley, and they're locked. So they hit before. Oh, did they hit in the 6-0 round? Is this the team?
Yes, I believe they did hit in the 6-0 round.
Oh man, so it comes full circle. Rice opportunity. Let's see here. No, is it not?
When did they hit? I'm control effing on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. I'm going through that right now myself. Berkeley. Let's see. Permanent debate at Berkeley. Oh no, it was UC Tyler that they hit in the 6th round. Where did they hit? Rice, Trevino, and Yang was in round 5. Was it that? Oh no, it was Renteria. Is it they hit in the final round?
I don't think they were side locked.
It says that they're locked on FTN. On forensic.
Oh, okay. No, they hit in round 5.
But Oh,
that wasn't the 6-0 round.
You're right. You're right. I was on the wrong Berkeley team. I didn't know they brought 2 teams. My bad. Totally my bad. Okay. So there you go. All right. All right.
So this round's interesting.
Okay. What's the topic? Topic first.
The topic is the United Nations should intervene in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Okay. Okay.
Again, not a huge fan of the UN as an actor. Again, another spineless actor.
Especially in Africa, especially in Africa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of good, relative uniqueness arguments about UN intervention in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the best neg strategy, right? And this was my strategy whenever we had UN topics. I mean, it was just like 3 minutes of solvency press. Right?
Yes.
Like, here's every bad thing the UN has ever done ever. And this is why it means that you won't win.
Man, even if you just rephrase that, here's every incompetent thing that they've done. Like even just a slightly less than bad. It's like,
right.
Yeah, you still got a really good, amount of information that you can put out there.
Yeah, and so I think that this round was interesting. So I watched this round. I wasn't on the final panel this year, thank God. I was last year, and I was like, please don't make me do that again. But I watched that round. It was very interesting. I think that the panel is very interesting.
Okay.
Especially given both team strengths and weaknesses. I think that this panel is hard to read.
I only know Darren Elliott. That's my only sort of touch. So by anyone watching, there's 7 judges in this round. The final round goes. It's split. Oh, it's 4-3. Oh, it's 4-3. I thought it was a little further away, but no, it's split. And these are the only ballots that Berkeley drops the entire tournament.
Yep. And it's the only ballots they've dropped in 44 rounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, Berkeley had a dominating season this year. And to drop your last ballots, they lost once at the Steve Hunt to a Whitman team, and then continued to win every single round in every single tournament they went to.
Yeah. Just out of spite.
And so I think that this round, right, is interesting.
Okay.
It was Topical versus T and K. And I made all my students float around. And one of my former students was on the panel, Ian Lang, and which is a very interesting thing to say now. Yeah, I'm feeling ancient. But I think it could have gone either way, right? I think the AF won, right? If I was on the panel, I would have voted AF on the MG theory. But
nice.
The neg won on theory.
Okay, so the AF was just straight up policy topical.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So they intervene, and what's the neg do?
The neg reads theory, and the neg reads a critique. I can't remember the interp off the top of my head, but it got him over the round. That's what the collapse was too.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it was interesting that it was so close, right? Because Berkeley ostensibly has been dominating all year, right? I mean, it's terrifying, right? I mean, and that's no shade and no hate to Max and Arjun, but I mean, I couldn't imagine, right? There's never been a team that has won that many rounds and has 2 national championships as the same partnership, and then is going for a back-to-back natty, and then you have not. I mean, Max is a former national champion, but Arjun is not, and to have that pressure of who's going to get the back-to-back natty, and is it going to be us, or is it going to be the team that already has 2?
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, that's a crazy amount of pressure for a round.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, all love to Brenna and Tristan, you know, and they're gonna hate me for saying it, but I still think the AF won. You
It's
know,
okay.
in my enlightened opinion.
Yeah, I think people that have been doing this long enough should be okay with that. You know what I mean? It's like you know, 3 out of the 7 people also are agree with you. So yeah, there's like they might even surprise you if they're. I would love to talk with them about this, and so see what their feelings were on it, whether or not they felt like they were at the top of their game at that round, or if they maybe
Right.
got taken by surprise, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be interesting to get those insights. You know, it's always, you never really get to see inside the minds of debaters, right, when they're doing it. And I think that is sort of an interesting thing that I guess, you know, we as a community haven't really dived into. Like, what do these people think when they're going into rounds, right?
Right. Yeah.
I wish I could remember what I was thinking when I was going into rounds, but
I know. Yeah. I mean,
it's a void.
oh man, how long has it been for me now? It's like all I have is like bubblegum commercial jingles going off in my head now. I don't really. All right. Well, hey, and so congratulations, Berkeley. All right. It's like,
Congratulations, Berkeley.
oh man, that. I hope they just are just loving it right now. That they're just feeling good right now.
First team in history to win back-to-back nationals.
Really?
Yep. There's
Wow.
been individuals who have done it, but never the same team that has won NPDA, NPTE, and then NPDA again. And
Fair enough.
TBD on NPTE this year, but
right, because they won both last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you said okay, they won. Oh man, if they won both, they would be, yeah,
like I mean, indisputably. I mean, that's just super
the GOAT
impressive.
team, right? Just like
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, all
yeah.
right. Well, you know what? Unfortunate for the number of entries, but it still is a really nice story of a couple of debaters just man finding their groove for a second year straight.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's truly impressive.
All right.
And you know, all love to Max and Arjun. Max was the debater that kicked me out of semifinals at NPDA. You know, so it's cool, right? I think it's cool. I like to see that. You know,
right.
It's great. It's cool.
Okay.
Debate's back.
Yeah. Yeah, like hopefully like we're in this recovery period, and I'd love to help in any way I can to get those numbers back up as far as participation in this activity that I grew up in. So
here's hoping.
Yeah. Kyle, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of insight, since I have not been there for so long. All right, and I'm sure we're going to be doing some episodes in the future.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Jared.
All right. See you later, everyone.